Anyway, wherever you are, let's begin the session with paying our respects to the Triple Gem. And again, I'll aim for an hour, to cover an hour. If you are happy and willing to spend the rest of the hour, then that's great. Excellent. Good. Swagato yena bhagavata Supatipanno sambhagavato savaka sangho Dhammayam bhagavantam sadhammang sasangham Ime sakare yataraham Aropite yabepuchayama Satu no bhande bhagava Suchiraparini bhutopi Vachima janananangam vamanasa Ime sakarendo katapanna karabhote patika Hatu Amaham dikaratam vitai sukhay devade Svakato bhagavata dhammo dhammam namasami Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho sangham namami Nandamayam buddhassa bhagavato Bhagavata namakaram Romasi Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So, as usual, spend some time collecting ourselves, centering, collecting ourselves. And as this Zoom session indicates, wherever we are externally, time and space, internally we can link up. Internally is where we need to meet ourselves, independent of circumstances. So this is what we call this meditation. And it's taking some time, this very careful journey, external body, sensations. Not what we think about the body, just the sheer direct experience, sensations through the skin. You're doing this really to give your attention something to anchor on, so it doesn't just follow the spin drift of thought, moods, emotions. And so within that, there's a stabilizing effect. You notice something else about this experience of body, very obvious, sense of weight. Pressure, weight, earth element, solidity. Obviously, we can conceive this as the bones, but it's anywhere that feels that sense of carrying weight. Your feet, your backside, your shoulders. And just using that as a foundation rather than as a burden. So you want the weight underneath you. And you can take the weight out of your shoulders. This rather wonderful faculty of awareness, which is extending your attention span from your shoulders down to the seat. Extending, so you have a very wide attention span. You don't want weight in your shoulders. But it will move if you allow it to. You're creating a nice open space for that weight to drain down your back into the ground. How does that move? It's called energy. Not energy which we normally, what about doing things? It's the basic energy the body has to reorganize itself. It's a living, vital system. So it seeks balance. So when you really tune in and ask it, do you need to be there? Do you need energy there? No. Then release it. The body will begin to find its own way without you pushing it. This is very helpful. Because if that energy isn't moderated, we don't use that. What tends to happen is we get a lot of pressure in the head. We don't need it, but it's just stuck up there. It becomes so normal that we get top heavy, we live there. And it gets very intense, stressful. So you're contemplating, how does your head feel? Tingly, pressurized, squeezing, probably a lot of energy there. Extend your awareness from your head, slowly tracking, extending it down your body, base of the body, even out through the hands. Energy softens, pressure goes off. Be willing to allow that. Don't worry, don't hold on, don't push. Be aware of the tendency to try to make things happen, which makes your head a little bit tight. Relax your eyes, relax your jaw, relax the will to do, turning into the intention is not to do, the intention is to move, widen the loop of your attention to include the entire body and softening attitudes, relaxing, softening attitudes, widening, softening. When we remove the pressure that our lives place upon us, the body will find its own balance, like floating in water, does it naturally. You can help it tuning into the rhythm of breathing, feeling of breathing. Breathing out with the idea, with the mood as you breathe out. Let it all go. Just for one out breath. Every inhalation, the in-breath comes in. Receive. In-breath, receive inhalation. What does inhalation do to your body? Open. Open to the present. Intimate, here. Nobody else's. Open to your own presence here. However it is. Breathing out. Just let it all go again. Keeps things fresh. various emotions, moods. Might get some agitation arising, thoughts, agitations, pressures arising. See these as like vortexes in a stream. You can't cut them out of the stream. You shouldn't try. Get the breath stream to flow through those. Bring them into the breath stream. Just bring the energy of agitation or pressure. That's okay. Okay, let's just breathe in through that. See if you're drawing a stream of water through these tangling places. And breathing out, letting it all go again. This particular level of experience, the mind and the body are sharing the same network. So every inclination you have will be felt by the body. So you might have afflictive inclinations, criticism, worry, doubt. Your body will feel that. But also your body can correct that. And washing through it. And for sure, it's the other way around too. Every positive inclination we have will be felt. So it's a constant sense, something is very loving, allowing, patient, no pressure. Just constantly bathe your body, your energies, your mind with that attitude. Any of that. Not just the words, but the whole atmosphere. Listening, whatever arises, you can then just keep referring to the effect, time, appointments, whatever happened today. How is that vibrating on that level, that psychosomatic level? Do we add any suffering to that? Do we add stress to that? Do we make a problem on it? Do we fixate on it? Do we criticize ourselves for it? Do we blame somebody for it? Do we worry about why it should be there? These strategies that the mind adopts. And the recommendation is just, first of all, release the suffering, the stress. So you can contemplate things a bit more dispassionately. Essentially, we're beginning to acknowledge certain hindrances, restlessness, doubt, worry, irritation. Just use the energy to just relax, move through that. These are tangles, tensions, knots. Find it even where sometimes they reside in parts of your body, like your chest or your stomach. Just it's possible to breathe, softening, widening through these pressure points. As we take our time to move out of this or change our tempo a little, that level of vitality, that felt sense, sensitivity, receptivity, vitality, how far does it extend? Through the body, around you, skin sits within that field. And as we open our eyes and open the sense fields, you can still sense that vibrancy in consciousness. Vibrancy behind seeing, hearing, touching, even thinking. It's like the sea, the great ocean, on which the waves froth and move and pass. There's no fixed boundaries.
Pamachaloka Dipati Sahampati Katanjaliyan Tivaramaya Chata Santi Dasata Parajaka Jatika Dese Tudamam Anukam Himam Pajam.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. So this, I say, layer of experience that I often find myself exploring, using as a foundation, subtle body, different names, subtle body, energy body, or the inner body. So it can sound kind of esoteric, but it's just normal part of life. And it's our emotions arise from that. Whenever that's disturbed, we have an emotional effect. Whenever something strikes the heart, that subtle body gets some sort of shimmer or effect. And you can recognize this. Anything that interests you, you light up. Disappoints you, you feel yourself sink. You can find yourself feeling burdened and heavy with an idea. It actually has an effect on your subtle body. You think a lot, you find your head draws all the energy from the rest of your body. So the mind and the body are very much interconnected at this level. This is useful because often we find ourselves very much trying to correct the mind with the mind. Get a lot of censorship and internal tangle of fighting with yourself. The mind fighting with itself, or trying to stop itself feeling something, or feeling embarrassed by what its emotions are doing, and trying to change them, or apologize for them, or blame them on somebody, or blame them on yourself. And you think, yeah, this is all, you can do it. But it doesn't really get to the point of how do you manage this level of experience where we're affected. We should be affected, shouldn't we? We're not numb, we're not potatoes. So we should be affected, and we should be responsive. But when is the point when that becomes unmanageable? We're just so flooded that we're just chaotic. Or there's so much happening to us that the system just can't process it all. It's like having 50 people using the same telephone system, just completely noisy. And this kind of happens for people. That's why many people live in a blur of thoughts rushing around, thoughts and emotions, because the system hasn't been able to discharge. Also, through not fully understanding and managing that inner body, we're open to the wrong things. We're just open to sense contact and mental impressions, but we're not open to subtler qualities we call spiritual qualities, such as loving kindness, patience, resolution, which also arise in that area. And until they do arise in that area, they're just ideas. You can have plenty of spiritual ideas and enjoy them, but until they've landed in the body, they're just ideas. One can get deluded because we have the ideas. We haven't actually integrated them. This is the place where we integrate the fruits of good karma. We integrate the spiritual faculties that protect us from bad karma, and we begin to find a way to release the effects and the activations of negative karma. This all happens at this level. It's at this level where the button gets pushed that causes us to jump one way or another. Yeah, it's this level where we also unplug the button and don't jump. And that's not just about some negative experience, because when we don't jump, we found out our awareness widens into something very replenishing, fruitful, and serene. Yeah. So the deactivated state is not numb. The unconditioned state is not numb. It's just not occupied by formations, by activations, ideas, thoughts, meanings, memories, karma, karmic impressions, self-identity issues. It's not marked with any of those. It's unrestricted. There's a certain, the Buddha called this, he referred to mindful of the body internally and externally. Yeah, and this is kind of quite a prosaic statement, but you think, well, what does that actually mean? Externally, mindful of the body internally and externally. And quite commonly, people understand external body is other people's bodies, internal body is my body. And that's worth considering, but mindful of other people's bodies. Why didn't he say mindful of other people's bodies if that's what he meant? It's not difficult to say. If he meant that, why didn't he say it? Why did he say mindful of the body externally? Mindful of the body internally, if he meant mindful of your own body, why not say that? It's not a complicated expression. We can all understand it. Yeah. And then in that analysis, we also have mindfulness of feeling internally and externally. And if you translate that as mindful of other people's feelings, what they're feeling, that's very speculative. Can you really know? Can you track the feelings, what's happening in their legs? Can you be mindful of what's happening in their bodies? I don't think so. But you can be mindful of the sensations that impinge upon your body from outside. And you can be mindful of impressions that arise within the body when it feels tense or unbalanced or vibrant or stagnant. You can feel that. Wouldn't that be one way of understanding internal that you could find useful, productive, pertinent? Because even though it could be mindful of somebody else's feeling, so what? Yeah. Or mindful of somebody else's body, well, so what? But internally, externally, and then internally and externally together, you find the external, if you bring your attention to the skin boundary as you walk, walking meditation is great for this because you have to. Standing also, it encourages getting the external quality there. Sitting, you should do, but you can easily drift. We say something like walking meditation, or just walking. You've got to be aware of the sensations in your feet, sensations in your shoulders, the whole body as a sentient thing moving through territory, external territory. Internally, you can feel the sense of dullness or stagnation or brightness or energy, whatever it is. And the external body will help to moderate, contain the internal energy. Just stay within this boundary. You know, use that external body like a fence. So that's out there. I can sense the skin, and that everything else is outside. Inside this, and just holding that container and the whole container from your head to your feet. It's like holding a bucket of water steady, and the mud begins to filter out, begins to settle by itself. And that's an image the Buddha played upon when he described mindfulness. He said, imagine walking with a basin full of oil on top of your head. Right? You've got to be mindful externally and internally. Get the balance, but don't lose that contact with your head, of the basin on the head. You're also mindful externally because there's people around you, and there's a girl dancing in front of you. So you're mindful of knowing there's that there, and you don't go there. Okay, you notice that, you stay within your own boundary. Yeah? And that's a really lovely way to consider cultivating this internal, external together. And I would suggest it's absolutely necessary and pertinent for daily life, because you're moving daily life, you're moving through these fields of traffic, noise, screens, computers, people, this, that, it's all jumping at you. Hold your boundary clearly as you walk, move around, and sense what's happening internally. Yeah. What's happening internally is something, so we begin to recognize something is stimulated by a sight. Let its energy jump up. Okay. Hold the boundary of your body, take your breathing, and begin to acknowledge that experience. And also, none of it's necessarily bad, but is it compulsive? You know, it's not bad to walk through a shopping arcade and see something you like in the window. Sure. Something, oh, that's interesting. That's not bad. But when you go through there compulsively, stuck in everything that happens in shop windows, you're going to be in trouble. So just being able to filter, acknowledge, is that jumping, is that useful? If it's not useful, can I also experience my internal body, and then what's jumped out through the eyes or the face is lit up, and draw my energy back down again into the whole body. And you release that impression, not necessary. This is where you learn how things affect you. An ordinary experience. Now, of course, we have quite a complex territory we move through. It's not just purely the territory of sensory fields on this level. It's not just, you know, car parks and rooms and shopping arcades and offices, but we move through the territory of our memories, our obligations, our fears, our worries, our anxieties, our excitement, our whatever, internal territory that we're trying to also move through. And this is where, you know, the energy body is where all this stuff happens. If it doesn't happen there, it doesn't happen. You know, memories don't happen in your head. Memories don't happen just out of thin air. Yeah. The ones that come to you unbidden, to just rise up, they're coming from these traces and residues in your body's energy system. There's still that sense of regret or uncertainty or joy jumping up. Something you're really interested in jumps up. It's still there. And if it's an unpleasant memory, as unfortunately many of the stuff that jumps up can be difficult, sense of loss, unhappiness of one kind or another, trying to get rid of it. Still got that memory after all these years. How do you get rid of it? How do you clear it? Now, the logic of Dhamma practice is you don't cut it off. You don't cut off emotions. If you cut off the emotions, you're just cutting it, putting a knife through your heart. And even if they're difficult emotions, you don't cut them off. You don't act upon them, but you don't cut them off. What you do, the emotional energy of a memory, feel it stirring, pulsing, moving, perhaps even activating parts of your throat, maybe causing tears to come through your eyes or something like that, or you feel yourself tightening up because you're having a difficult time. And then use the return to put topic to one side, focus on the energy, the mood, open to the mood. What does the mood of regret, anxiety need? It doesn't need a hammer or a knife. It needs goodwill. So that's one of the. And what does the tension or the agitation in your body need? It needs the presence of the entire body. Because these difficult places, difficult memories, difficult moods, difficult emotions, they're like naughty children, and they run off and make a nuisance, and then you can kind of go around and run after them and scold them, so they hide somewhere, and then when your back's turned, they run out again. And you can keep doing that for years because they don't grow up. What they really need is a big place that says, welcome home. You can come and sit here. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home, painful memory. Welcome, painful memory. Because the very quality of welcome, remember, everything you incline towards, every intention you have, every attitude you have, sustained attitude, has an effect. And it has an effect on your body's energy system. So if you keep resonating the quality of welcome, what happens is your body's energy system will begin to open, unfold. And then this tight knot of ill will starts to dissolve. This is where we kind of clear, you could call it negative karma, or the karmic level. Call it the karmic level because it's the place we act from. It's the place where our habits jump up from. It's the place where our reflexes jump up from. It's those constant memories we have, we keep referring to. So it's the source of where our mind tends to jump, tends to return to, tends to pick over again. And when you've had people have been upset and there's been a quarrel and so forth, they can still be with that 10 years later. And the conversation you're having suddenly goes back to that same topic. You think, my goodness, we haven't moved beyond that in 10 years. Because the chitta doesn't move in time. It moves in terms of karma. If the karmic residue is still there, it will stay there. It's very simple. It doesn't go away because the years pass. It stays there. Skillful karma is to use this energy body as the place where you bring that healing intention. It's not to negate one's issues and quarrels and feeling upset, not to say shut up. It's not to neutralize it, to say hear it and feel it in the body. And you do this, it will lose its power. It will lose its grip. It will become something you can remember if you choose to. You can definitely remember it if you wish to, but it doesn't jump up on you. It's not something you find yourself going back to and rehearsing and remembering. You clear the karmic level. Now, when we talk about karma, I really recommend that you look at it much more in terms of the karma that you do, the action that you do now. There is a result of action, which is also called karma, or old karma, or vipaka karma. And this is true. Acts we do now have consequences. And they again will reside in your body's energy system. And if you keep following certain obsessive currents, certain obsessive trends, certain negative patterns, certain addictive patterns, they will build and you'll become shaped by them. Your attitudes, your trajectories, your relationships, your life will be shaped by what you can, the kind of messages and the emotional tendencies and the karmic actions that you use as your basis. You know, people have got a lot of anger. They haven't resolved the anger. They haven't let go of things that have hurt them. Things have been terrible, it's true. They have been hurt, that's true. They've every right to feel angry. But the unresolved anger corrodes their nervous energies, so their life becomes one of being grumpy, ill will, irritable, don't want to be with people, don't trust people. They're stuck in it. Now, the addition I'd like to make is that this level is not just because of what you've done. It's because also what has been laid down in you by other people's actions. As the Buddha says, either through one's own volition or through the volition of others, one acquires an unwholesome kaya sankhara. Kaya sankhara is this body energy. Either through one's own volition or through the volition of others, you acquire an unwholesome citta sankhara, an unwholesome mental, emotional tendency. So it's not just, it's all your fault. It's all your fault is a useless expression. It doesn't do anybody any good. It doesn't lead out. There's no point in using expressions about yourself that don't lead to the end of suffering. Why bother? We've all made mistakes. We'll probably make some more in the future. But if you're going to, keep accumulating it and not learning from it, then you're not really developing or using this practice to find what's fruitful. So whose fault it is and who to blame doesn't really do you much good, because it hasn't resolved the negativity. You may very well be justified. People have some terrible experiences other people have done to them. And it is indeed quite distressing to see how much work people have to do to clear impressions that have been landed on them through other people, through being bullied, abused, and so forth. It's sorrowful, but the realism of it is, it's in your body now, and you've got to deal with it. And you can. And in fact, it encourages, it urges you, it says, please, let's get through this painful memory. You cannot just push it down. Let's get through it. Now, we can, we can say we can be aware of that. Of course, awareness is fundamental resource and fundamental openness, receptivity that we're all endowed with. And this can be, a source of great serenity. But awareness, I would suggest, has to do some work, or has to integrate into releasing these karmic knots. So they're not just something we're aware of and, say, okay, that's the way it is. We're aware of it, and we also say, there's something unnecessary in this. You don't have to carry this any longer. And if there's a release from that, it will be for your benefit emotionally, spiritually, in terms of your relationships, and in terms of your lifestyle. If you clear these, and you're free of the burden of the past, you're free of the pressure of what you're carrying, you're free of the identity that gets created around these karmic obstructions. And then you are alive. Really, you're free, you're alive. You're not just living, getting a living, making a living. You are alive. And there's the awareness and attention is available to bring joy to yourself, compassion to others, and so forth. This is a very fruitful life. This is the level at which I'm encouraging attention and remembering it. Everybody has this. You see, if you look in the Asian traditions, you've got two major fields of Asian tradition. Indian, you've got the prana, the chakras, and the nadis, and this. They all developed a whole technology around this subtle body, auras and chakras, and yeah, that's it. Chinese, you've got meridians, energy channels, meridians with different names and different points on the meridian chart. Yep, that's it. In Buddhism, they developed it very much in the Vajrayana traditions, tantric, but also in some aspects of forest Theravada traditions, also developed this work on the inner body, visualizations, mantras, yantras, chanting, because chanting also affects the energy body. So you begin to impart the resonances and the meanings of chanting onto your energy body. Because this replenishes it. This is the source from which we act. This is this is the source, this is the juice, this is the battery, this is the energy pack that informs everything we do. And how much that is being used to wash the clothes, do the laundry, fix the emails, how much it's doing that? Don't you think that in doing that, which is not bad behavior, you're going to get drained? Of course you are. How do you top up again? How do you replenish? Sleep? Yeah, but it's not really enough. Chanting, meditation, anything that turns towards this energy body with bright karma, calming attitudes, karmic chanting that's got bright karma in it, embodiment that's got bright karma in it, meditation that's got bright karma in it, will refresh and replenish its energy body. And if it's becomes strong, you'll become less infected with the craziness of the world around you. less prone. When you look at the example of the Buddha, people tried to kill him 7 times. His own cousin tried to kill him. The Buddha did not do ill will. The energy of ill will had been eliminated. That hindrance had been completely wiped out. Right? Cleaned. Afflictive stuff cleaned out. Even, in the face of such threatening circumstances, didn't have fear. That one finished. Didn't have regret. Instead, the resources of the boundless compassion and clarity of the awakened mind unfolded, unrestricted. This is a guidance, this is a guiding light for our practice. And every time when we acknowledge the jump, the surge, the tightness, the constriction, or the openness and the joyfulness and the expansion of this energy body, we're looking at the right territory. It's up for us to use our wisdom to discern in this very body is the path into the world and the path out of the world. While we have this body, while we have this inheritance, let's use it wisely. So I'll offer this for your reflection today.
Dhamayam Dhammakataya Sadukaram Dadamase Sadhu, 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 anumodami.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Peter. Take good care. We'll finish the session with the homage to the Buddha, Dhamma Sangha. Araham Samma Sambuddho Bhagavan Buddham Bhagavantam Vivade Bhagavato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasam Sukatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangham Namam. Okay, so let's hope we can meet again sometime, someplace. Most of all, stay in the stream of Dhamma wherever you go. We'll meet when we can.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.